Benoit Blanc returns to the big screen, and he has a brand new mystery to solve. But who did what? Where? Why? And with what kind of fruit juice? I'm Chris Goodmakers, and this is Glass Onion Explained. Spoilers ahead. The central mystery of Glass Onion revolves around the extraordinarily wealthy tech visionary Miles Bron, played by Ed Norton's giant blue eyes. He's known as a visionary and a genius, responsible for many technological breakthroughs. I'll leave the real-life parallels up to your imagination. Miles has a close group of friends who he refers to as his disruptors. These friends are all seemingly well off, in no small part due to their connections to Miles. These disruptors consist of Clair, an up-and-coming progressive politician, Duke, a men's rights Twitch streamer and influencer. There is Birdie J, a former model and fashion line producer who spends most of her time ignoring quarantine rules. She is also followed by her put-upon publicist, Peg. Rounding out the group is Lionel, who manages the day-to-day operation of Miles' Tesla-like company. Each one of them receives an elaborate puzzle box that opens up to an invitation to Miles' private island. Given that the film takes place at the height of the 2020 pandemic, everyone is too happy to get away from the crowds and quarantine. However, before they even set foot on the island, they are all already involved in a sinister plot. We also see a box sent to another person. At first, it's seemingly Andi Brand. Andi was a former partner to Miles and a member of the friend group. However, she refused to fund Miles' new super fuel because it had a nasty habit of exploding for no reason. He froze her out of the company and humiliated her in court. When she found the key piece of evidence that could destroy Miles, he poisoned her. The woman who actually shows up on the island is Helen Brand. Helen is Andi's twin sister and a humble school teacher. She knows someone on the island is responsible, so she hires Blanc to fake his way into the party. Together, the two of them search for the real killer. But Andi won't be the only dead body in this film. Duke keels over and seemingly chokes to death during a climactic moment. It seems like he too has been poisoned, but as Benoit points out, it's much dumber than that. Miles spiked Duke's whiskey with pineapple juice. Normally that would make for an interesting cocktail, but Duke happens to be allergic. This is alluded to with an earlier line. Why did Miles poison Duke? Well, it's because Always Online Duke had received a Google alert with the news report of Andi's untimely end. That, coupled with Duke seeing Miles at Andi's house earlier that week, well, even he could put two and two together. So Duke attempted to blackmail Miles, which backfired pretty quickly. Miles then goes for a hat trick and shoots Helen, who only survives because of Andi's pocket-sized journal. So what's the flaw in Miles' master plan? It's that he's a certified idiot. Miles is often talked about as if he's some genius who pulls greatness from his head. However, that is far from the truth. In actuality, he just has a lot of money and no morals. Benoit even remarks on his misuse of big words, or even just making some up. The other reason he's been able to get so far is because of the power he holds over his circle of friends. Helen and Blanc bring the whole thing down on his head though, thanks to some terrible super fuel. So while Knives Out ended in a slow motion stabbing, Glass Onion ends in a much bigger note, when Miles destroys the only piece of evidence and his supposed friends fall back in line behind him, all hope seems lost. However, Blanc tells Helen to get a little crazy, and oh boy does she. After a room wrecking worthy of, well, the room, she sets the whole place ablaze. It's bad news for Miles because the whole building is run on his new super fuel. So not only does his high-tech home go up, but so does the frickin' Mona Lisa. Yeah, I forgot to mention that Miles had leased out the actual Mona Lisa from the French government and had an override switch built into the protective case. Helen flips that switch and guarantees that Miles will forever be remembered as the man whose new super fuel destroyed the most famous painting in the world. With nothing left to his name, Miles' old friends finally turn on him. Needless to say, the man is screwed. I'd say that's a happy ending all around. Glass Onion was a worthy successor to the 2019 film that changed the mystery game entirely. This sequel goes bigger, but it doesn't forget what made the first film so refreshing. I'm looking forward to rewatching the film when it hits the Netflix streaming service this Christmas. Also, if it's not too much, I would love a notification ringtone of JGL's Hourly Dong.